In today's music industry, an artist can go viral without even getting in front of a crowd. So, do you even need live shows to build an audience in today's music industry? I've also heard of artists who do perform a lot who just say they cannot grow their audience even when they are performing live very often. And so there is a common thread where whether you're performing live or you're posting to social media as your main point of outreach, you can still be in danger of missing the key ingredient that actually draws fans in to your music, your brand, and builds a lasting connection surrounding your art. So in today's episode, we're going to unpack the 3 key difference makers that helps you connect with brand new people who have never heard your music before and convince them to care about your music without having to pretend to be someone that you're not. Those difference makers are engaging storytelling, emotional depth, and a shift in the listener's perspective. And I'll show you how to do all of those things today. Because the question is this: how do independent musicians like us, who aren't signed to a record label, have no major investors, who are spending all of the money out of our own pockets, how do we market in a way that connects our music with real people and do it in a way where we eventually turn a profit? That's the question I'm on a mission to answer. My name is Ryan Vatsek, and welcome to the show. So, do you need to perform live to grow a fan base? Thankfully, the answer is yes and no. You do need to perform somewhere. You need to get in front of your audience. But the traditional live performance where you get up on a stage in a venue, you sell tickets, you have to pack the room, that is becoming harder and harder depending on where you live, depending on your level, how networked you are. If you're just starting out, it is very hard to book worthwhile shows and even harder to get your first fans through the door. On the other hand, we have social media, which is a digital stage where we can show up through video content in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people in a single post, and we can still share our music, our message, and our brand, and draw in people who could eventually follow our music career for life. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that posting video content on social media is a direct replacement for the magic and the wonderful experience that only live music can bring to a music lover. I'm not saying that they're equal, and I'm not saying that one can replace the other. However, I am talking from a marketing perspective, and we are focusing on the goal of attracting new fans and familiarizing these cold audiences to our music and our brand. Now, a cold audience means that they've never heard of us before. A cold audience is someone who is just seeing you and hearing from you for the first time. And social media, as well as performing live, can both satisfy this need for attracting cold, brand new audience members that we will then warm up and nurture and over time familiarize them to our brand. And like I said earlier, there are artists that perform live who actually don't do a lot of attracting at all. And it's a big danger to book the show and get up on stage, but what you do on stage is not serving the audience growth goals and the brand connection goals that you have set as an artist. You could get up on stage and it feels more like a recital where you're just playing the music and leaving, and you're not necessarily doing anything human or connecting with the people that are in front of you. Likewise, you can make that same mistake on social media as well, where social media becomes basically your own personal bulletin board for ordering fans around and trying to get them to do the things that are going to benefit you financially, like buy my ticket, purchase my merch, stream my music on Spotify. And it just becomes a to-do list of orders that you're barking to your social media followers rather than giving them an actual creative experience like you would on stage. So that's why I'm bringing both into this conversation, because there's a lot more in common with live performance and social media content than what first meets the eye. And if you're anything like me, As an artist who loves performing live and kind of hates social media a little bit, I tend to put social media in the not creative category, just something that I have to do nowadays. And live performance, I put up on a pedestal as like the ultimate thing I can do as an artist. But really, we can make both of those things extremely creative or extremely lacking when it comes to connecting with our fans. And many live performers and social media content creators don't think through the entire audience experience. And so now I'm going to walk you through the key experiences you want to bring to the table to your fan base, whether you're on stage or you're performing on the digital stage through social media. First is storytelling. This is the exact opposite of the barking orders to fans that I mentioned earlier, because what you're doing is you're not leading with a demand at all, and you're approaching your fan base with a completely different posture. It's the same posture that you would as if you were writing a song directly to your fan base. It's the posture of, I want to share my journey with you. Will you join me on this adventure? And you should already be doing this in a live setting already. This is a very common thing to do when building a set list. You insert stories in between the songs of your set. And this is fantastic. This is what's going to draw your audience in between the songs. And it gives your audience context and insights about you that the lyrics just can't share. And it goes beyond the lyrics in many ways, because what you're doing is you're inviting the audience more into your life. And that's the opposite of the getting up on stage and just performing a musical recital approach, right? In fact, you might not realize this, but when you share stories from the stage, it actually becomes an interactive part of your concert. When you're playing music, of course, the fans can sing along and there can be interactive parts of the song, but the audio, the music from the speakers is really the primary element of the room. But when the music stops, when you share a story and there's space for laughter, for even people to shout answers at you, it becomes closer to a conversation with your fans. And that's an experience that's unique and I think essential in a live concert. And that same experience can be taken to social media when you share your stories through video. And just like you would when planning a set list, your social media stories, they require planning. In fact, when I work with artists, I teach them to write out the 3 pillar stories that hold up their artist brand. And by pillar, I literally mean the pillars, the columns that are holding the structure of your brand together. It lets people know who you are. And if you take the time to write out your pillar stories, you're actually developing a lot of clarity within about who you are as a brand so that you can better communicate and you're more prepared to share these stories in your content. And that's one thing I want you to do in response to this video. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment below saying, Ryan, I'm going to write out my pillar stories. And these are the ones that you should start with. The first pillar story is your backstory. Talk about how you became a musician, why you decided to choose music. This is almost like your hero's origin story if you were a Marvel superhero, right? And what I've found is that if you write it out, you get a lot of practice in that exercise, organizing the flow and the timelines so that you can easily, effortlessly draw from that in your content. The second story you should try is a big moment where you had to overcome a huge obstacle in your music career or perhaps your life. This could be a moment where perhaps you considered quitting music, or a moment perhaps where you might have gotten really sick, or something else where you had to overcome and you're still making music to this day. And the third pillar story you should write out is your dream, your aspirations as an artist. It's almost like calling your shot. What do you want to do with your artistry and how do you want to change the world? Write out those 3 pillar stories. And again, leave a comment below. Let me know, Ryan, I'm going to do this. A little bit of accountability. Leave that comment and I'll see it. And once you have those pillar stories written, you've actually done something that I think 90 to 95% of artists will never do. You did the deep self-reflection that's going to help content effortlessly flow out of you in an authentic way. So that's the first key difference maker that your audience needs to experience in order to draw them in. Telling your stories and planning out and drawing out your pillar stories so that you're prepared. Next is, what emotional range are you prepared to explore? And let's paint a picture really quick. You're on stage and you are telling stories, but they're just all kind of little quips and they're very surface level and honestly forgettable. And you perform the rest of your set and you leave the stage. And what real impact did you make with that 45 minutes, an hour, 90 minutes on stage? Now, let's imagine the alternative. You're on stage and in between songs, you got deep, you got personal, and you shared some of the hurts that led to some of these lyrics. And you made people laugh in other parts of the show. And there are tears in their eyes for multiple reasons. Now, once you walk off the stage, how much more do you think that audience will have connected with you in that short time on stage? Do you see what I'm saying? The key principle here is the wider the emotional journey, the deeper the connection someone will build with you. So when it comes to performing live in person, what vibe are you bringing to the stage? What space do you have planned? Are you even making space for emotional tenderness or for fun or for laughter? And of course, what sides of your personality are you prepared to share? And if you are tempted to only show the one-dimensional version of yourself that is just very simple and not willing to go into the deep places, then you can expect your audience to respond in kind, where they might even enjoy your music. They might think that it was a nice place to be, but they'll leave the show without ever truly connecting with you as a human. If you're using Google to reach out to booking agents and venues, you're finding the same emails that thousands of other musicians use to flood their inboxes with their highlight reels, their EPKs, and their SoundCloud links as a desperate plea to get the show. That's why I want you to skip the public search and go straight to the decision makers. I use the tool bookingagent.io because it automates the whole process for me. It's a real-time search engine that delivers live data on concert venues, clubs, and talent buyer contacts. Those are the people that you actually want to get in touch with, not just the public email that anyone can Google. By entering a similar artist into the search bar, you can do a global search in an instant, pinpointing venues that are looking for artists in your genre and your sound. Now, I was digging into this a little bit and it's super accurate. It uses a machine learning model that constantly updates the contact information for venues across the world. So no more dead emails. If someone gets fired from the venue, it updates the contact info to the new employee. So you're always up to date on your searches. And once you've identified potential concert venues, the platform lets you map out your tour based on locations close to your existing tour stops. This is a huge help if you're an independent artist looking to save money by booking your own tour professionally, and even more powerful if you're an artist manager or booking agent looking to multiply your impact and service more clients at once. Look guys, it's not very often that I come across a tool this helpful for independent artists in our industry. So if you're interested in booking more live performances faster, check out bookingagent.io to learn more and to grab a free bonus that I've prepared for you in advance. Clicking that link also supports the show, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Have fun booking, and now back to the show. Once again, social media has so much in common with performing live when it comes to a marketing standpoint and building these deep connections with music lovers. And if you're exploring an emotional range through your content, you're showing different sides of your personality, you will connect with people and you will accomplish many of the same goals that performing live does, especially if you perform your music in the process through video. And I believe that the best way to explore this emotional range and bring it into your content is by starting a simple habit called journaling. And you probably already do this if you're a songwriter. Hopefully you're journaling song titles that you want to bring to life. And similarly, if you are writing down in your journal just the things that you're feeling and dealing with on a daily basis, you're not only going to get a lot more song ideas, but you're going to have done a lot of the work in advance, drawing out these stories beneath the lyrics. And what I've found is that these journal entries are a treasure trove of ideas that actually relate to the music and can promote the music through social media as well. And you can only get there if you're willing to explore the full emotional range of your creativity through your content. And you don't have to share everything. You don't have to share things that are too personal that you want to keep private, but you do need to explore the areas of your creativity that just won't come out on its own. And it's not going to come out through impromptu content either. And you can't just hope that you think of the right idea at the right time on stage either. Once again, this takes planning and it requires working on yourself as a person, as the creator of the art. And a lot of times we just get tempted to work on our art only without working on ourselves at the same time. So I want to know, do you practice a journaling habit? Leave a comment below. But if you don't, promise me, and I'll read this, I'll help you stay accountable. Right, Ryan, I'm going to start journaling now because of this video. Let me know in a comment, and I would love to see that and I would love to support you in that. This leads us to the third key difference maker that audience members need to experience from you. Audience members need a shift in their perspective about you. Here's what I mean by that. When someone walks into a venue and you're up on stage performing and they're listening to you for the first time, that listener is walking into the venue with a lot of preconceived ideas about you. They might be judging you based on how you look or how the PA sounds or who else is in the room or even by what song you're playing at the moment. And it's just a fact that everyone judges a book by its cover, especially when they're not prepared to make a new relationship, or maybe they even have their guard up for whatever reason. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they didn't like the artist that was performing before you and they're thinking that tonight was a waste of time. But when you're up on stage, you have the opportunity to shift someone's perspective about you, and you never know where they're starting from, but you need to have a clear plan to showcase your talent, shift their perspective, and then give your listeners a next step once they decide that they're on board with you. Now, there's no one thing that's going to shift someone's perspective about you, but if you do everything I said earlier in this video, sharing stories, being prepared to explore emotional depth, then this is going to be extremely easy, and you just need to seal the deal, okay? So here's what I found that works really well. If you're performing live on stage at a concert, you need to announce to the whole room that you are going to offer a moment after the show to connect with everyone personally if they meet you at the merch table or maybe they meet you at the front of the venue, right? And in this key moment, the people who are most interested in you, the people who actually did have that perspective shift and they do see you as an interesting artist that they want to follow up with, they will come to you, and you need to have a plan in that moment. And that plan is saying these three amazing words: let's stay connected, okay? That's your cheat code for doing this effortlessly without feeling like you're being cringy or markety or throwing off the vibe, right? You say, let's stay connected. What's the best email I can use to keep you updated? And if you are an artist who is still selling less than 100 tickets per show, then this is your main strategy until you surpass that point, okay? Those three simple words: let's stay connected. What email should I use to send you updates? What you're doing is you're building your mailing list, a key brand action. You're converting a cold audience member into someone in the warm audience category. It's someone you have the ability to stay in contact with, and you can use tools like an email list builder to do this. And if they are in your warm audience, they have given you permission to continuously stay in touch, which means they are also way more likely to purchase your stuff, come to a future show, and support you long term. Once again, this is your primary goal if you're not selling 100 tickets per show, and building this list is going to help you get there. Building your list is the launch list. It's the retargeting list. It's your warm audience with the most valuable fans who are ready to buy from you. And believe it or not, the same thing can happen on social media, except instead of being on a physical stage, you're on the digital stage, on video using a camera, and we all have the ability to make incredible content. Whether you have a fancy video camera, DSLR that shoots 4K, or you're simply using your cell phone, you already have everything you need. And there are tools you can use to automate the email collection, even if you're on social media or YouTube. And I'll leave links in the show notes for some tools that I love to use to build email lists. Even when you can't get in front of your fan base in person, you can still do everything digitally. In fact, using email automation tools, using DM automation tools, you can collect emails in even more creative ways by giving away songs, by giving early access to content, and it's all possible. You just need to have a plan and think through the next step that you want to present to someone who has their perspective changed about you. One of my private coaching clients, her name's Rebecca, she was very used to performing live, but when I told her that she also needed to see social media as another stage to perform on, she was very nervous about this, and she thought she wasn't cut out for making videos. She didn't know how to edit. She didn't know how to use a camera, but she quickly discovered that it's not as hard as what she was making it out to be in her mind. And take a listen to what she says in her own words after she leveled up her skills in content making and is now able to connect directly with her fans through social media. Take a listen.
Yeah, well, you got me doing stuff that I've never would have believed that I'd be doing. I mean, in a million years.
And you're doing such a great job too.
Really? Have you been checking the latest things out?
Yeah, I've been watching them. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, good. I was going to ask you.
And the funny thing is too, the next time we were going to talk about your content, I guess I'll just tell you now if it's okay. I was going to say, Rebecca, you perfected this. So in conclusion, fan base growth isn't about the medium that you present yourself. It's about how you present yourself and the connection that you're bringing to the table. And as you've heard in this episode, performing live is just one amazing tool, but it's not the only one. And there's a lot of overlap between live performing and social media posting. And the common thread is that you get to build a creative experience and curate moments so that people can stick with you and remember you. And it's really easy in either medium to fall into the trap of not being memorable. So that's why I shared with you the 3 difference makers: storytelling, making sure that your content and your performances have a strong story element. Second, exploring the full emotional range of what your creativity has to offer and what you have to offer people as a human being. And thirdly, making it a goal to shift someone's perspective about you and having a plan for their next step so you can stay connected. Friend, if this video was helpful to you, leave a comment below if you're on YouTube, letting me know one thing you're going to implement to foster better connection with the people who are experiencing your music for the first time. And if you want to go deeper into the marketing concepts I mentioned in this video, there is a way you can learn more from me, and I'll leave that opportunity in the description below as well. Now, the next time you're on social media, you might be tempted to click that little blue boost post button. But before you do that, watch this video because most artists do this wrong. And I'm going to show you the right way to boost your posts. It's here in this video that you can watch next.